Monday Night Raw starts off with CM Punk, cuts a promo, cuts his basically like his celebration promo of finally becoming World Heavyweight Champion. He ends up thanking everyone that along the journey that it took him to become World Heavyweight Champion. Then he ends up mentioning Seth Rollins. He ends up doing the signature Seth Rollins swing that he does with the championship that he did with cashing in on CM Punk, but also cashing in when he first did it at WrestleMania as well. He ends up doing his signature swinging the belt around, which I thought was very cool. Then he ends up mentioning becoming a fighting champion, that he wants to defend the title, mentions all of these great wrestlers that he could defend the title against. Then you get Logan Paul comes out. He comes out, confronts CM Punk, and he basically wants a shot at the World Heavyweight Championship. Then you get the Vision. They come out. Paul Heyman ends up basically saying that Logan Paul is not in the line, and that Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed are the first people in line, and that they never lost the championship in the first place, so it's rightfully theirs to take. Then you get Braun Breaker. He gets on the microphone and ends up mentioning how Paul Heyman told them to wait for their opportunity, and that he's tired of waiting. He's tired of waiting, and he's going to take what's his, which is the World Heavyweight Championship. They get in the ring. They attack CM Punk. Then Logan Paul tries to help out CM Punk, but ends up failing, and that's the end of the segment. Well, I think it ended with CM Punk getting a steel chair. Yeah, it ended with CM Punk getting a steel chair, and the Bronze ends up avoiding CM Punk and end up leaving the ring. I like what this eventually does, set up a match towards the main event, because Jey Uso ends up confronting CM Punk, ends up saying that he has his back. So CM Punk ends up accepting the help of Jey Uso, so that ended up becoming a tag match towards the main event with CM Punk, Jey Uso versus the Vision. I like what they did here. Set up something at the beginning so it could lead to something towards the end. Plus, they end up giving us kind of a plot twist towards the end. So I end up liking what they end up doing overall. This was a cool segment. I like that they're still ejecting the Vision, of course. I know I was like, the Vision can't go away. I'm hoping we pull that trigger on Braun Breaker sooner than later, because we don't need to drag this out. We don't need to drag out the Braun Breaker era. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming very soon. We don't need to drag this out. And I think this eventually is going to lead to War Games, of course. So I don't see Braun Breaker getting a championship opportunity within the next few weeks, but especially due to War Games. But probably around December, January-ish, I could definitely see it. Possibly he could win the Rumble, to be fair. So very interested to see how this all plays out. But I did like the opening segment overall. Afterwards, we end up getting Stephanie Baker, Nikki Bella versus the Judgment Day between Roxanne Perez, Raquel. This was a solid match. Majority of the match was just Nikki Bella getting annihilated just to get the hot tag towards Stephanie. But the Judgment Day does pick up the victory, Nikki Bella taking the pin and Roxanne getting the pinfall, which I did enjoy. This does eventually lead to a segment later when Nikki Bella confronts Stephanie, feels like she's not good enough and that she's just getting in Stephanie's way, but Stephanie ends up cheering her up, telling her that, she needs to believe in herself and that she paved the way for women's wrestlers. And next week, we're going to get a championship match, a World Heavyweight Championship match between Stephanie and Raquel, which I am excited about. We know Stephanie's going to win, but it is something new, something different, something refreshing in the, I really wouldn't call it main event scene, but title picture for Stephanie Baker. So interested to see how that match goes down. Should be a really good match. Very interested to see how their two styles clash in the ring. And hopefully, I hope it leads to an actual story, actual feud, because I don't know what you do with the women's War Games, because now we're on to the build towards War Games, which is towards the end of the month. I don't know what you do with the women's War Games. I honestly don't, because there's nothing there to really build off of with the one. Because you have the Kabuki Warriors bitch with the tag division. Stephanie's doing her own thing. It's very weird how they're going to try to put all these women together, because they're going to connect these stories somehow. It's going to make no sense, but they're going to try to connect this somehow. I just don't know how you do that, because the women's War Games makes no sense. At least with the men, you could kind of connect the pieces, where with the women, I don't know how they're going to do it. So I'm interested to see how this plays out. We get a quick Dominic Mysterio promo. He basically ends up hyping up, him retaining his Intercontinental Championship, mentions him being double champ, and then he ends up constantly going on this rant about him. He's the greatest champion of all time. He's the king of the luchadors. Then you get Rey Mysterio. He comes out, confronts Dominic Mysterio, and he basically ends up going back and forth between him. He feels like he's disrespecting luchadors and that he's not the king of the luchadors. He ends up saying that as long as he's around, that he is never going to be the king of the luchadors and that he's not even the best Mysterio. Dominic tries to attack Ray. Ray sees it coming, hits a 619, and that's basically the end of the segment there. Dominic ends up complaining about this to the Judgment Day, but the Judgment Day not really on his side, but this eventually leads to him being ringside towards JD McDonough and Finn Balor's match for the tag team titles, which plays a factor later on in the show because eventually they end up having their rematch for the World Tag Team titles against Dragon Lee, AJ, and AJ Styles. They end up losing that match. During the match, you end up getting Dominic Mysterio. He tries to interfere. Then you end up getting Sheamus. He confronts Dominic, stops him from interfering. So it looks like we're getting Sheamus and Dominic Mysterio very soon because Dominic. It looks like Sheamus is going to be in the Judgment Day Vortex, which I do like because I was kind of afraid that we was going to run back to the Rey Mysterio and Dominic storyline, which I don't mind running it back. It's just that right now, I just feel like if we're going to run that story back, Rey Mysterio needs to be retired. That's just me personally. If we're going to run that story of Rey and Dominic, I feel like it needs to be the final match, not them doing the continuing feud, in my opinion. Because I'm just not that interested in the Rey Mysterio Dominic Mysterio feud. I'm just not. Maybe they could reunite that heat back, but for me personally, I just don't really care for it right now. But who knows? But I do like Sheamus' involvement in this. I'm interested to see if he's going to go after the IC title. I hope he does. Now, if he does go for it, I will hope that he wins. But I could easily see them telling the story of Dominic finding another way to just find a way to weasel his way out of another victory with Sheamus to build up his Intercontinental Championship run. I can see that as well. But putting Sheamus against Dominic Mysterio should be very interesting. So interested to see how that all plays out. Afterwards, we do get a quick Becky Lynch promo. She ends up basically crashing out. She's crashing out. She's going on this crazy rant. She's just going all over the place, mentioning Maxine Dupree, basically saying that she doesn't belong here, that she doesn't deserve to be in the same ring as her, and that the next time they face will be the last time they face, and that she's going to put an end to it. I love this promo. This promo was great. Just Becky Lynch just going on this crazy rant, just crashing out, losing her mind, going psycho over Maxine Dupree. I like it. I like what they're doing with Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch has been doing amazing work. Now, some people are speculating that it could be two things happening. Either AJ Lee returns and helps Maxine Dupree, or she returns after they have their match and Maxine Dupree gets attacked by Becky Lynch and AJ makes a save. I'm cool with either one. I still don't think Maxine Dupree should beat Becky Lynch only because, one, I don't think Maxine is ready. She has improved, yes, but I don't think she's ready to carry an entire division. I still think she needs more time. And two, I just think that after Becky, now I did say that if anyone does beat her, I do want that person to be elevated from it. Like I said, I'm cool with Maxine Dupree if they do end up pulling the trigger. I won't be completely mad at it. I just don't think she's ready at that point yet. That's just my opinion. But I do like the story they're telling with Maxine Dupree. I do like it. It's a very good story. It's a very good underdog story. Becky Lynch is being the best heel in wrestling. So I love what they've been doing with her. This was a great promo. It wasn't that long of a promo either. It didn't overstay its welcome, but it wasn't too short. I like what they've been doing with Becky Lynch. I love this feud they've been doing. It's been very interesting. I'm interested to see what happens. We get a women's tag team match between the Kabuki Warriors versus Lyra Valkyria and Bayley. The Kabuki Warriors picked the victory. They picked it up cleanly, by the way. Then afterwards, we end up getting Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. They come out, and basically the Kabuki Warriors ends up running away. So it looks like they're teasing that potential matchup, which is going to happen very soon. I'm assuming probably Survivor Series, maybe even before then. Interested to see how that match plays out. Now, the only thing I will say is, what is next with Bayley and Lyra? Because they've been doing this thing where Bayley and Lyra have been teaming up, and they've been doing this thing where Bayley goes on and off between babyface and her going psycho. When are we going to pull the trigger? What is the end goal here? Is the end goal her being a heel? Is the end goal her just being this mixed personality and that's it? Or is the end goal her finding her way and becoming a bit... Like, what is the end goal her? Because it's getting, I want to say, it's getting a bit repetitive, but it's like, I feel like we're not moving the story. It feels like we're just staying stagnant with this Bayley thing. Like, what's next for Bayley? Is it a feud? Which it probably should be, because Bayley and Lyra, they're considering them part of the tag team division. They shouldn't be a tag team, but so I wonder what's next with that. I hope they actually do some more story development with that, whether it's, like I said, a heel turn or giving us a lot more teases of the direction he's going. Because right now it just feels like it's just very stagnant and they don't know what to do. But I'm still interested in that storyline. We'll see what happens with the Kabuki Warriors and Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss whenever that match happens. Now we get the main event. The Vision versus Jey Uso and CM Punk. It was a solid match. Well, not really a solid. Yeah, it was a fine match for what it was. In a count out. They just end up brawling. The Vision did get the upper hand, but then eventually the Vision was getting the upper hand if I'm not mistaken. But then CM Punk is coming out with a steel chair. Then you end up getting the Bronx pretending like they was going to leave, but they end up getting steel chairs of their own, attack CM Punk. Then you end up getting Logan Paul. He comes out. Well, no, they didn't attack CM. They didn't attack CM Punk. They was about to attack CM Punk, if I'm not mistaken. Logan Paul then comes out, act as if he was standing side by side with CM Punk to fight Division, but he ends up knocking out CM Punk, and then he aligns himself with Division. He ends up handing his brass knuckles to Paul Heyman, and it looks like we're getting. I don't think this is going to be a full-time thing. I think this is a temporary thing. I think Logan Paul is just out for Logan Paul. I don't think he's actually joining Division. I think this is probably just a temporary alliance just for Logan Paul to just side with the group that he thinks is going to benefit him just for the short term. And then eventually they're going to figure out Logan Paul's not really with them and then probably kick him out. This is definitely going to build towards War Games, in my opinion. Logan Paul is probably the third member temporarily for Division. And then they're probably going to add a fourth guy and a fifth guy because for whatever reason, WWE always like to do 5v5. Don't know why. You could just do 4v4, but it really should be 4v4. You easily have the perfect War Games match. You have Punk, Jey Uso, Jimmy Uso, LA Knight. It's really that simple. Like, that's all you need. You don't need a fifth member. And then you could just add whatever fourth member you want to Division, to be honest with you, whether it's Brock Lesnar or someone else. But Brock Lesnar will actually make the most sense because he's already been doing the whole Paul Heyman stuff to begin with, and we haven't seen Brock Lesnar forever. But I personally wouldn't want that, to be honest, but it would make logical sense. But overall, this show was actually good. It was a good, enjoyable show. Interested to see what's next. Interested to see how they continue to build towards Survivor Series, even though it kind of feels like they barely did anything to Survivor Series. It still feels like we don't know what direction they're going, but I'm interested to see how things play out. You guys let me know your overall thoughts and opinions down below. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. But yeah, that's it.